recording now, please do let me know. Please write in the chat box record. As 6 happens and as time happens and I'm not recording, just message record. So I just started. Yes, let's get started. So this is Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. Now, what is Dhyana Yoga? Right? So whatever we know from our understanding of yoga, uh, uh, or concentration upon something, that would be mostly Ashtanga Yoga. Mostly Ashtanga Yoga. 90, 95, 98%, whatever you know is Ashtanga Yoga only. Right? So whatever you call as yoga, you know only Ashtanga Yoga. Now there is Dhyana Yoga. What is Dhyana Yoga and what are the different types of Ashtanga Yoga? I mean, different classification in Ashtanga Yoga and different types of Dhyana Yoga. We would understand in detail what are the different yogas, how we should be understanding each and every yoga. Yes. So, what is yoga? What is yoga? Could anyone raise your hand and tell me what is yoga? Fast. No one raises. I move on. Reddy Prasad. Okay. What is yoga?
Prabhuji, yoga is doing some yoga is also a karma, Prabhuji.
Okay, yoga is karma. Sai Raga.
Prabhuji, yoga is the thing that we do for being healthy.
Healthy. Okay. Healthy in terms of body. Yeah. Okay.
And to wake up our 7
Senses.
We do yoga to keep healthy in body and mind.
Okay. Body and mind. Okay. So we have body and mind. So it is some kind of austerity. Let's understand. What is yoga? So is this yoga? Is this yoga? Okay. Is this yoga? Is this yoga? Janya and Jeevan. Janya, I believe, is saying yes. She's nodding her head, but no, this is not yoga. This is not yoga. This is actually torturing yourself. Now think of this soul. He is not able to, through this body, he is not able to breathe properly. He has put down his head over below the ground. Right? Is he doing yoga? No, he's torturing the body. Is he doing yoga? He thinks like he's doing yoga. This is just some exercise, right? Yoga is not restricted to bodily exercise. If we have this ideology that yoga is very limited to bodily, then we are doing the same mistake. We have bodily identification. We are not identifying with soul, right? We all are souls. We are not body, right? And if you are just thinking about body, we will not be understanding about soul. Yeah. So let's understand. Is this yoga? Is this yoga? Now, this is beer yoga. This is beer yoga, and people call this as yoga, but this is nothing but foolishness. Foolishness. This is foolishness. This is fooling yourself. Is this yoga? A goat is standing on the top of you, and you are doing some bodily activity. Is this yoga? So people call it as yoga. This is goat yoga, by the way. So is this yoga? This is office yoga, or this is chair yoga. So yeah, there are different level of intellectuals, and we have different yoga. See, chair yoga, this yoga, that yoga, yoga for presidency, and we have yoga for cat too, right? So and we have many kinds of yoga: office yoga, tennis yoga, desktop yoga. So there are many kind of people who are telling about yoga. So are those yogas? No, those are not yogas. Those are just marketing yourself in the name of yoga. Those are just selling yourself in the name of yoga, right? Because yoga is a fancy word, right? Let's connect with yoga. And when I would be saying yoga, people would be able to connect. That is the idea. So normally, I told you at the start of the class, 95, 98% of whatever you know, and 95, 95, 98% of whatever you know is Ashtanga Yoga. Now, what is Ashtanga Yoga? Asht means 8. Anga means limb. Yoga means connection. Right? So Ashtanga Yoga means 8-limbed connection. Now, when you 8 limbs, there are 8 limbs. In the cycle, there are 8 limbs, right? When 8 limbs get connected, that is Ashtanga Yoga. Right? So what are those Ashtanga? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Now think of this. Whenever you would be thinking about modern day yoga, it would be Ashtanga Yoga only. Whenever you would be thinking about it, they would be talking about Yama. Yama is external discipline, right? Niyama is internal discipline. Okay. Asana is postulate. Okay, you have to sit upright. Very good. Pranayama is breath control. Yeah, we have breath control exercises as well. Pratyahara is withdrawal of senses. Okay, I should engage myself. Okay, withdrawal of senses. Dharana. Okay, I need to concentrate. Okay, this two might be there, but again, you would never be able to fully concentrate. So this might or might not be there depending upon your understanding. Dhyana is meditative absorption. Now you can do meditative absorption on only Krishna. If you want, I can make you understand through practical this one. But yesterday we were seeing Jagannath, right? Jagannath at the very end. Now, when you were seeing Jagannath, you can see Jagannath's DT's pic, DT's image, and you can keep on concentrating for hours, right? And you would not deviate. You would not feel here, there, right? You can see with full concentration. You can see Jagannath DT. Again, same goes with Krishna DT. In fact, Krishna DT, we would be better able to connect because Krishna's form is first, right? We would be better able to connect. And we have seen Krishna's DT. When we would be seeing Jagannath's DT for a long time, we would be able to connect with Jagannath DT as well, right? So think of this. We can do meditative absorption, dhyana, only in Krishna, right? Else, it would be nearly impossible, zero possibility that we could do dhyana. So whoever is teaching you Ashtanga Yoga, they would not be talking about dhyana. Samadhi, when they could not even touch dhyana, how could they touch samadhi, right? Samadhi again could happen only with Krishna. Please do not write, or I would mute. Yeah, I would mute. Okay, I would mute the chat. Yeah. So my objective is not that you write on things, but if I ask question and you write, it's really good. So they could not even think of dhyana. Yes, they could not even think of dhyana. How could they reach to elevate to samadhi? So if you could do dhyana, there after only you can think of samadhi. So these are the 8 limbs, and these two would never be taught. No one, whoever is teaching you yoga, whoever is teaching you modern age yoga, do they teach meditative absorption? No. Do they teach you union, integration, samadhi? No. Now, when they are not teaching the essence of it, when they are teaching 6 limbs or the 8 limbs, the topmost they are not even teaching. So are they teaching you yoga? Are they teaching you their yoga, Ashtanga Yoga? No. So even for Ashtanga Yoga, we have seen Gyan Yoga, the highest form of Gyan is Krishna. The Karma Yoga, the highest form is Krishna. And I believe that comes in the next slide itself. So here we are. Just let's move on to this. I would come again. Highest form of Karma Yoga is what? Knowing about Krishna. Highest form of Gyan is what? Knowing about Krishna. Again, highest form of Ashtanga is only about knowing about Krishna. And all these highest form is none other than Bhakti Yoga. This is Bhakti Yoga. We are doing devotional service onto Krishna by using our mind, by using our hand, by using our work, by using our body. We are just thinking about Krishna, right? This is doing bhakti yoga. So all yoga's progression are towards destination is bhakti yoga only. This would lead to eventually to bhakti yoga. If you want perfection in this one, na, you would lead to bhakti yoga. If you want perfection in this one, bhakti yoga. If you want perfection in this one, bhakti yoga. And that is directly connecting with Krishna. Right? So simple. Isn't it? So are you willing to give this yoga system a try? These yoga system? No. We want to understand something else, right? So think of this. Arjuna. Arjuna is, who is Arjuna? Arjuna is not an ordinary personality. Arjuna is not an ordinary personality. Janya wants to say something. Who was Arjuna? Okay. Yeah.
Ma'am, he was the student of Dronacharya, the favorite student.
Yeah. He was the favorite student of Dronacharya. Okay. There are many sides to it, but yeah, he was a favorite student of Dronacharya. Now, you can see in this pastime, Dronacharya is telling to Pandavas and Dhritarashtriyas that how we should do this, how we should concentrate our mind, right? So he was teaching archery, and he asked, "What do you see? What do you see? What do you see?" So if, when the bird was to be shot, everyone was saying, "I see this. I see air. I see tree. I see everything. I see sun. I see moon." They would say each and everything. Arjuna would say, "I am seeing nothing but the eye of the bird." So he had that kind of perfection, and he did not say only for the sake of saying. He meant it, that I could see only the eye of the bird and I have to target that. Right? He had that high level of concentration even during birth time. He did many austerity and penances that we could never even imagine of. Right? He could happily live in forest. In exile, he could happily live. Right? He could during Draupadi, this one Swayamvar, he could target this fish on the top by seeing the water. We could not even think of doing it, right? No one, not even biggest of archers were able to do it, right? So he could see the water and he could target it on the top, right? And he would not even target the fish, he would target the eye of the fish. Such a small eye, and he would target it, right? Now this is what we all know. We know from pastimes of Arjuna that Arjuna did so many things, and Arjuna suffered. Arjuna happily suffered, right? uh, mm, for Krishna he was suffering. Why? Because he wanted to do austerities, he wanted to do penances, he wanted to do different kind of work for Krishna. Now think of this. Arjuna was who? Arjuna was a eternal servant of Krishna. He was an eternal servant of Krishna. Whatever Krishna would say, Arjuna would do. If Krishna says something, Arjuna would do it happily. Right? Arjuna would do it happily. Oh, my Lord wants me to do this. I am doing it happily. Now he is Nar Narayan Rishi. Nar Narayan Rishi is none other than Nar. Right? He is personal consort of Krishna. Personal concert. And what does Arjuna say? Let's see. Oh, okay. Before that, this is Arjuna. This is fighting with Shiva. Now this is interesting. I'm clearing hands. This is Arjuna, and previous batch students, please do not answer. So this is Arjuna fighting with Shiva, right? They had a very fierce war, right? Imagine who would have won. Kirtana knows the answer. Yeah. Sai Raga. Okay. I know Kirtana, you know it. So I'm not unmuted. Yeah.
Prabhuji, Bhagwan Shiv and Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Bhagwan is only one, Bhagwan is opulent, someone who is full in six opulences, and in those six opulences only Krishna is full. So Bhagwan is Krishna only, right? Shiva is not a lower grade like any one of us. He is not a lower grade person. He is not a lower grade soul. He is a very elevated soul, right? He is an eternal servant of Krishna. He is a Param Vaishnava. But we should not call him Bhagwan. Why? I would tell you. Yeah, Amaya.
Why
Even
did they
Shiva
have
would
a
not
war?
appreciate it. Yeah.
Why did they have a war?
Okay. This was something which Krishna planned. Yeah. So they were fighting. For now, just remember they were fighting. And who won? I want to answer. I want answer of this one.
Arjuna?
Arjuna. Okay. Abhay and Abha and Abhay. Sonakshi.
Arjuna.
Arjuna. Okay. Sahana. Okay, Sahana knows the answer.
Both, Prabhu.
Yeah, Sahana knows that. Yeah, let's first answer. Thereafter, I'm coming back. First, let me answer. Thereafter, I'm coming back. Now, before even that, because it was raised, now we often do this mistake. So I need to clarify, and I have a very few time today. So Shiva or someone like Hanumana would not appreciate. Think of Hanuman Mandir. You reach out to Hanuman Mandir, and in front of Hanuman deity, you say, "You are Bhagwan." What would Hanuman say? What would Hanuman say? Hanuman would say, Janya wants to say something. Now she's like she raises her hand. Oh, no, I want to answer. Yeah. So I'm muting her. In the video itself, she's like she would jump out of the screen. Yeah, Janya.
Ma'am, he would tell no because he would think Ram is the Bhagwan.
Yes. Think of this. You understand from your own understanding. Hanuman served Ram all his life. What did he do? He served Lord Ram. He bowed in front of Lord Ram. He folded his hand in front of Lord Ram every time, and he just wanted to do whatever Lord Ram says, right? Now, if we go to Hanuman and says, "Okay, you are the Lord, you are Bhagwan," how would he feel? He would feel cheated. He would feel that all my life I served Lord, I served the Lord, and you are making fun of me. You have come down to make fun of me. Would he appreciate this? Now, Hanuman, if we go to Hanuman and if we praise Lord Ram, he would be really very happy. This is what I did, and you are doing the same. So you are so dear to me, right? If we go to if we go to Hanuman and if we praise Ram, he would be really very happy, right? So we should know constitutional position. Similarly, Shiva is a Param Vaishnava. He would meditate deeply. In Bhagavatam, he told the entire Bhagavatam. To Parvati, right? And continuously, without taking a break. He was telling Bhagavatam stories. But think of this. When he is so ecstatic in telling about Krishna, you go to Shiva and tell him that you are Bhagwan. How would he feel? I did all my austerities onto Krishna. I am submissively surrendered onto Krishna. Now you are making fun of me by calling me Bhagwan. Would he not feel like that? I feel that this is what he would be feeling. Entirely, this is what he would be feeling. So we should be cautious not to tell him Bhagwan, but at the same time, we should not disrespect him. He's a Param Vaishnava, right? He could connect us with Krishna anytime, any 1 second. Narada can do it. He can do it, right? So we should never make fun of eternal servants of Lord. Again, for that matter, Arjuna too. Now, Arjuna and Shiva were fighting. Both are Param Vaishnava. They are serving only to the Lord, right? These are devotees of Krishna. Can anyone lose? No. Is this not very clear? Can any one of them lose? while fighting. No, they both are servants of Krishna. How can they lose? It is not possible that they can lose, right? So they both were fighting and nobody lost because it was already known that both are pure devotees of Krishna. And if you are pure devotee of Krishna, and we know if Krishna is with you, no one can make you lose, right? And Krishna is with both of them, how can they lose? Thereafter Shiva blessed Arjuna with Pashupatastra sometime. And uh, Arjuna, uh, Arjuna was this personality. Think of this. We were talking about all the pastimes of Arjuna. Now these were the pastimes of Arjuna, as well as this was two pastime of Arjuna. So Arjuna was this personality, and what does he say is Chanchala hi mana Krishna. Who want to chant this shloka? Okay, Kirtana. Yeah. After this Akshara. Yeah.
चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्णा प्रमाति बलवदृतं तस्याहं निग्रहं मान्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम्.
Yeah. What does he say? He says that for the mind is restless. In fact, I had got an opportunity wherein I enacted. So I am just feeling that this is what I did. I was Arjuna when I enacted this. So for the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Oh Krishna, this is Krishna. Oh Krishna, and to subdue it, I think is more difficult than controlling the wind. So what does Arjuna says in simple words? I can control the wind if you want. If you want Krishna, I can control the wind. I can control the wind. But to control the mind is very difficult. My mind is deviating every now and then. And who is saying this? The same personality who has done all these things, who has done these pastimes, right? Who is the eternal servant of Krishna. And what he is saying that for me, controlling the mind is very difficult. And by very difficult, he means impossible. Now think of this. Arjuna is saying this. Arjuna is himself saying this. Is it possible for any one of us to control the mind? Is it possible for any one of us to control the mind? I think the answer is very apparent. Now, every now and then, you are seeing some person who says, "Sit down, do yoga, and concentrate, and focus, and you would be able to win over your mind." Is it possible? Uh, Not this way. Not this way. Yeah. So first, let's understand: is mind a friend or an enemy? So it is mentioned in 6.6, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friend, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So mind could be the best of friend or the best of enemy, depending on how you do it, right? How you see it, mind could be the best of the friend or the worst of enemy, right? Mm. So let's see. Uh, Here we have the same energy, same fire. What can fire do? Fire can take the rocket to space, right? Same fire can take the rocket to space, an airplane to travel. The same fire can do forest fire. If it is uncontrolled, what it would do? It would destroy everything. Similarly, is our mind. Our mind, if used well, it could do the greatest of things, but if not used properly, it could destroy us completely, right? So we need to use our mind properly to be our friend, else it would turn out to be our enemy. It would do us bad. It would not do us any good, right? So this is about the greatest yogi, and yesterday too we knew he does Krishna karma, he does a spiritual work, he does akarma, right? Now he is the greatest yogi. He also, let's see, in 6.5 Krishna says, "O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind." So Arjuna is saying that I cannot control the mind. So Krishna is saying it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. but it is possible by constant practice and detachment. It is possible. Now, how is it possible? It is mentioned in 6.36. For one whose mind is unbridled, unbridled means not uncontrolled, therefore, and therefore extreme. So your mind is not extreme. You are not moving from here and there. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization, uh, self-realization is difficult work, but whose mind is controlled. When your mind is deviating, it is not possible to do self-realization work. But when your mind is controlled, who strives for right means is assured of success. Now you need to focus your mind into something which does not make you deviate. Think of yesterday only, and there is one more this one experience. If you want, I can share that experience with you. It would be jumping on to some chapter, but I want to jump. If you allow, I would be jumping at the very end. You can experience that when you see Krishna, then you can fixate your mind. Your mind would not deviate. And if you could control your mind, then the success of then you would be able to live in that zone, in that environment where you could have a very good self realization, right? Let's understand it. So for now, greatest yogi is Narada Muni. Greatest yogi is Narada Muni. Yeah. And we have seen this slide, although we have seen, let me once again say this. All the yogas are progression towards Bhakti Yoga only. The highest form of Karma Yoga, the perfection in Karma Yoga is leading to Bhakti Yoga. The perfection in Jnana Yoga is leading to Bhakti Yoga. The perfection in Ashtanga Yoga is leading to Bhakti Yoga. And we should do it Bhakti Yoga directly when everything is leading to Bhakti Yoga only. Think of this. If every road is leading to the same destination, why not approach that destination directly? If you have to reach the same destination, why go zigzag and reach to that place? You can connect to Krishna directly, do Bhakti Yoga directly, do devotional service directly, connect with Krishna directly. Why do you want to do Karma Yoga, do perfection, thereafter come back and connect with Krishna? Why do you want to go Jnana Yoga way, do perfection? It would take many years, right? Jnana Yoga, do perfection, and then connect with Krishna, right? You can take names of Krishna directly. If you take names of Krishna, that is Bhakti Yoga. There are 9 ways of doing devotional service, right? Now I would be sharing, let me write this down. I would be sharing 9 ways of doing devotional service, and tomorrow we would be talking about it. 9 ways of devotional service. Okay? So we would be talking about it tomorrow, right? So we all need to understand. I would be sharing it's very simple, but you all should read and come, right? It's very simple. I would be sharing one PDF. It would not be even one page. Just read and come, right? Yeah. Krishna says, and of all yogis, he who always abide in me with great faith, worshipping me to be transcendental loving service is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Now think of Krishna. We are not able to think of Krishna. Krishna is inconceivable. Can we think of different, so many extensions of Krishna at the same time? When we see one Krishna, one form of Krishna, I mean, one Krishna, we are not able to understand that form only. There are so many extensions of Krishna at the same time. This is Narayana Loka, right? Krishna can take any form. Krishna can take as many forms that you can think of, right? So Krishna can always take many forms, and Krishna can do the inconceivable, something we could never ever understand. Krishna can do that easily. Oh, this thing, I can do it. We could not even understand how could this happen, but Krishna could do it. And of all the yogi who abides in me with great faith. So if we abide in Krishna, if we abide in Krishna, having faith. Now, having no faith, like I don't know who Krishna is, but he looks beautiful. No. Then it would not happen. You need to have faith, right? Worshipping me in the transcendental service, right? Krishna transcends beyond time and beyond place, right? Krishna exists in this time and previous time and future time. Krishna would exist at every time, right? And Krishna could exist in this loka, in that loka at the same time. Krishna could exist in this loka and that loka. He can extend himself so many forms in the same place. How can he not extend? How can he not transcend at the same time at different places? He would easily be able to transcend, right? So this is about what sacrifice can we do. So this is now this is again jumping on. So Srimad Bhagavatam mentions this. I would come why this is here a bit later, but Srimad Bhagavatam explains this. So somebody wants to chant. They are raising hand. Kirtana, okay. Abhay and Abha. Sahasra. Abhay and Abha, okay.
कृते यद्यान्तो विष्णुं त्रेतायं यज अतो मकाहि द्वापरे परस्याय कालो तद् दारे कीर्तनतः.
Whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu. So in different yugas, there are different ways of worshipping. In Satyuga, it is meditating on Vishnu. In Treta Yuga, it is performing sacrifices. In Dwapar Yuga, it is serving the lotus feet of Krishna. In Kali Yuga, it can be, whatever result came, it could come through chanting of the holy name Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now we have known in last chapter, last chapter, that Krishna loves us, right? Krishna loves us. Krishna wants us to come back to his place. Krishna is our father's father, and he wants us to come back to his place. Now think of this. Suppose all of us are sitting here, are sitting in standard one, right? Krishna says, you are in standard one. If you want to study in standard 10, if you want to study in grade 10, right? If you are in grade 1 right now, and if you want to study in grade 10, what is the procedure? That you need to pass grade 9, right? You need to pass grade 9, you can come to grade 10. Now Krishna says, no, you are in grade 1, I can take you to grade 10 directly. I can take you to grade 10 without any qualification that you have. I can take you to that place. How would you feel? I do not have any qualification to sit on grade 10, and he would take us to grade 10. He would just wait for 5 or 10, 15 minutes, and you would know how Krishna takes us to higher grade without any qualification, right? We would not be having qualification to sit in grade 9. We are in grade 1 right now, right? And Krishna says, let's go to grade 10. So we know through what we have understood that doing bhakti yoga is direct way of connecting with Krishna. By doing any other yoga, we are indirectly connecting with Krishna, which would take more time. How? Let's say I'm doing karma yoga. So karma yoga, I would not be performing Krishna karma for the very start. I would not be doing a karma for the very start, right? Where would I start? I would start something. I would start doing some wrong things, bad karma. Thereafter, I might think of doing good karma. Thereafter, I might excel in good karma. Thereafter, I might think of doing a spiritual work. Thereafter, I would go to spiritual work. Thereafter, I would start performing. Thereafter, I would find perfection. Thereafter, I would connect with Krishna. Right? This would be the procedure at any place, right? So think of this, it would take many years, maybe ages, maybe lifetime, right? If you are doing karma yoga and if you want to connect with Krishna, it might take a lifetime. But if you are doing bhakti yoga, how many time would it take? 1 second. 1 second. You would not even take 1 second, right? So if there is direct way of connecting with Krishna, and if there is indirect way of zigzag way of connecting with Krishna, whom would you choose? Suppose you are tired. Uh, uh, Suppose you are tired. Akshara. No, Akshara lowered her hand.
Ma'am, I mean, sir, I
Yeah.
would choose the easy way
Yeah,
of
easy way.
directing.
Easy way. Akshara. Yeah, suppose you have come down from your school. Someday you were in your school, and these Corona times, we are not thinking about it. Pre-Corona time, you have come down from your school to your home, and you are set at the bottom of your this one apartment, right? And you want to reach to your home. You are really tired. Which way would you choose? Lift or staircase?
I would. It actually kind of depends on which floor I am. If I'm on a high floor, then I would take the lift. But if
Yeah.
I'm just on the second floor, I would take the stairs.
Yeah. So you are, I told you already in which floor you are. You are in grade 1 and you are being taken to grade 10, right? So you would be traversing a lot of distance. You would be traveling a lot of distance, right? So you would be for traveling a lot of distance. What would you choose? Lift, right? You want to connect directly with Krishna. What would you choose? Bhakti yoga. So we should not be going indirect way of connecting with Krishna. It would take ages. It would take lifetime, right? If you are okay wasting your this life and another life and another life and another life, maybe then you should choose some maybe Jnana yoga, Ashtanga yoga, or maybe Karma yoga, right? Else we should be directly connecting with Krishna very swiftly, right? So let's understand what is mantra. Before we understand what are the things, let's understand what is mantra. Mantra comes from two words. Man means mind, tra means deliver. So anything which delivers our mind is mantra, right? Anything which delivers our mind is mantra. So yeah. So what would deliver our mind? This is chanting the holy names of Krishna. Again, I am jumping in. It comes later. It is chanting the holy names of Krishna. But why? What is chanting the holy names of Krishna? And before that, have you noticed we chant Panchatattva mantra? We chant Panchatattva mantra, which is Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. During everyday prayer, we chant Panchatattva mantra. During chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I've shared in the group too. During chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we must chant Panchatattva mantra before chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Why Panchatattva mantra? Why? Where is this coming from? I don't know. Let's understand. We should chant Panchatattva mantra before chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is mentioned out here. Now, this is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even before knowing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, think of this. Think of your mother. Your mother, right? Your mother loves you. Your mother loves you. Now, imagine you did something wrong. You did something wrong, but your mother understands this part that you did it unconsciously. You did not do it deliberately, right? You did it unconsciously. You did not know that you did something wrong. What would your mother do? Yeah, again, raise of hand. You did it unconsciously. You did not know that you did some mistake. Kirtana, yeah.
She would tell me what's wrong and tell me to fix it.
Would she punish you for that?
No, because she knows that I didn't do it on purpose.
Sahasra. Would your mother punish you for that? Oh, your voice is not coming. Your voice is not coming. You are saying something. I can sense it.
Now
Yeah.
she will scold us a little and
Okay.
then tell us not to do it again.
Okay. She would scold you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Shivani.
She would also feel sorry, and she would be thinking like, oh, this poor child didn't know what was wrong or right.
Yeah, yeah. Even if she says to you or not, she would feel it this way. She would feel, oh, my poor child, he did not know that he did a mistake. And even if she scolds, she would scold you only apparently. It would look like she is scolding. She would not scold you. She would scold you superficially, right? So that you feel some bad. No, intrinsically, she would always feel, oh, my poor child, you did not do anything wrong. You purposefully did not do anything wrong, right? She would, in fact, at times, she would embrace you. She would come and embrace you. Oh, my child, you did not do anything wrong. You never knew that was wrong, right? She would do it that way. She loves you so much, isn't it? Krishna loves us 10,000 times the love of mother. 10,000 times it is mentioned in the scriptures. So, so whatever child love is with his mother, Krishna's love is 10,000 times more. So Krishna was sitting, and Radharani Maharani is female counterpart of Krishna, female energy of Krishna, right? So Krishna wanted to understand one day how much Radharani Maharani loves, right? So to experience this love, he was not able to understand. Krishna was not able to understand. Krishna is inconceivable, and Krishna is not able to understand. Oh, what is this happening? But Krishna was not able to understand the love of Radharani Maharani. He wanted to experience it. What is the love of Radharani Maharani? So, for experiencing that, he felt like I should take one birth in the form of a devotee, where I am loving God, where I am loving Krishna, right? Then I would be able to understand how Radharani Maharani loves, right? So I would come to this later. So it was in Navadvip. Navadvip is the place where in 1202, some 800 years ago, 800 years ago, right? It was the first city in Bengal which was captured by British. It was the British era, right? It was the first city which was captured by British. And one powerful sage, Advait Acharya. Advait Acharya was meditating upon Krishna. He was meditating upon Krishna for years and years, right? What did he offer him? If you hear na, you would not be able to believe your ears right now. He offered him water. Advait Acharya offered Krishna water, and he used to pray to Krishna. Now think of this: water is coming out of Krishna only, and Krishna says that in later chapters we would know that you could offer me patram pushpam phalam toyam. So this shloka would come, and there we would know that we could offer water to Krishna, and Krishna would be happy. Now again, we are sitting in grade 1. Krishna wants to take us to grade 10, and what is the consideration that he wants? He wants us to offer the same thing that he has offered. He has given us profusely. Krishna has given us water profusely, right? We drink water all the time. He just want us to offer water. He just want us to offer food. He just want us to shower love, right? Who has given us love? Krishna only. And Krishna wants us to share our love to Krishna, and Krishna would elevate us, right? So it was powerful sage Advait Acharya who was praying to Krishna, who was meditating. Now it was in 1486. 1486, February 18th February. It was a full moon day, and people chanted the holy name. People chanted the holy name, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. Right? So it was another incarnation of Krishna. it was a yugal form, joint form of Krishna and Radha. In the form of devotee, he wanted to experience Krishna. Krishna himself wanted to experience Krishna in the form of a devotee. So he was a joint form of Krishna and Radha, where he could experience like Krishna, he could experience like Radha, right? So he was born under a neem tree. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born under a neem tree, and because he was born under a neem tree, he was given the name Nimai. You can keep on writing. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's another name, Nimai. So when he used to so he came to earth only to propagate the names of Krishna. Please allow me to extend this class by 10 minutes because I am going in ecstasy. If I go deep into the story, I would just surrender onto this story. Please allow me that I extend this to 10 minutes. Let me tell this story. Yes. So when he used to cry, when he was a little child, when he took birth, everyone cries, right? When he used to cry, he would stop crying only when Hari or Krishna name is taken. So he came down only to deliver to the fallen souls, right? And he wanted to propagate the names of Krishna. You chant Krishna's name, right? Only then I would stop crying, or I would cry. So people used to start chanting name since his birth, right? So he made one situation. He started his mission of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra with his baby tricks, right? He was called Pandit. He was called Pandit and thereafter Nimai Pandit because he was very scholar. He surpassed all people. So there was one proud scholar named Keshav Kashmiri. He was defeated in debate very easily by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And he was given the name Pandit. Nimai Pandit started his own school at the age of 16. At the age of 16 years old, he started his own school. He was given another name, Gauranga. Gauranga because he looked yellowish in color. Gauranga, right? In 1508, around 22 years, he met Ishwara Puri in Gaya. Now the story goes like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first told this thing to Ishwara Puri, and thereafter Ishwara Puri said the same thing, repeated the same thing. And because if Krishna wants something to happen, would it not happen? It is bound to happen, right? So Krishna wanted Ishwara Puri to say this thing, and Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this Ishwara Puri as his guru. What did he say? Ishwara Puri, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the same thing, he repeated it. If you want to make a spiritual progress, simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There is no religious method more sublime in this age than chanting the Sankirtana. Till this point, Nimai Pandit was supreme among logicians, debate. So he was very scholarly person till this point. But he left everything. He was not doing any scholarly activities. He concentrated upon chanting the holy names. Right after he met Ishwara Puri, he started chanting holy names of Krishna. And you can see Sankirtana happening. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's chanting holy names. He's chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right? So he would be chanting this with his concerts, with his close people. Who are these close people? So Nimai is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nimai is Gauranga. Nimai is this Nimai Pandit, right? We had Nityananda Prabhu. Now, who was Nityananda Prabhu? Nityananda Prabhu was no other than Balram, right? So we had Nityananda Prabhu, Nimai, and Nityananda Prabhu. and we had Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is the same powerful sage who prayed to Krishna to come down to this earth. We had Gadadhara, and we had Srivas Thakur. So think of Panchatattva mantra. Let me jump. I am jumping too much in this class, isn't it? Look at this one. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu, who is Balram himself. We can see these five, right? Shri Advait, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhara. This is Srivas Thakur, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, right? So this we chant while doing Panchatattva mantra. We chant this. And why do we chant this? Why do we chant Panchatattva mantra? Because who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a joint form, is a combined form of Radha and Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a joint form of Radha and Krishna, and Radha Rani Maharani is even more merciful than Krishna. Radha Rani Maharani is even more merciful than Krishna. Krishna is merciful, but Radha Rani Maharani is even more merciful. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even more merciful than Krishna. Right? So when we are chanting the Krishna's name, when we are chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, what is happening? At times we are doing mistakes. Right? Suppose I want to chant it properly only, but I chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Now, by chanting Hare Hare, I did not pronounce it properly. Now, this is an offense. Or I might be somewhere stopping in between. It is not allowed to stop in between, right? We should chant complete Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, right? I might be stopping in between. I might do some kind of mistake. So there are a lot of mistakes that we may do, right? There are a lot of mistakes that we may do by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When we are chanting Panchatattva mantra, we are absolved from any kind of mistake that we may do while chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? So even if we do any mistake, we are saved from that. We would not be fined for that. So we should chant Panchatattva mantra before chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? So this is about chanting the names of the Lord, right? So there is more to this. Let me tell you one more pastime. There is a lot to explain about this, but let me tell you one more pastime. So Nityananda Prabhu, Balram, and Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was another associate of Krishna who was assisting Krishna, who was assisting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastime. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came just 500 years ago. Just 500 years ago, he was on this world, right? In fact, in India itself, in Navadvip, in this one, West Bengal. And there, the biggest temple of ISKCON is being built, right? So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur went to every place. They used to knock each and every door, and they would just say one thing: please take names of the Lord. It was very unpious place before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth, but after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth, it started becoming very, very pious place. In fact, it was the most pious place on the earth during his lifetime. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur wanted this pious city to come up, right? So he wanted everyone to chant Krishna's name. They would just knock each and every door, and they would request with folded hand, please chant the names of the Lord. Right? Please chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They would just request each and everyone. So one day they were going to one place, and these city dwellers, people of the city, they felt like, no, you should not be going. Please do not go. Please do not go. They were going, and everyone was requesting, please do not go there. So there were two bad people, Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai, although they were born in a Brahmin family, they did every kind of sin, right? But this Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur wanted to this Jagai and Madai to elevate, wanted them to take Krishna's name as well. So they went. Now they did not know that Madhai would attack Nityanand Prabhu. Madhai came and attacked Nityanand Prabhu with a broken pot. Nityanand Prabhu, from the head of Nityanand Prabhu, blood was coming out. Right? And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw this, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to know of this and saw this, he was ready to kill this Madhai. But Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu requested, no, Krishna, no, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please do not kill, please do not kill, please do not kill. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, because you are saying I'm not killing. Madhai and Jagai could not believe this. I was ready to kill this person, Nityanand Prabhu, right? And I attacked him so badly, blood was coming out of his head. And suddenly, what is happening? Suddenly, I see that these are excusing us. He could not believe. He surrendered onto Krishna. He surrendered onto Krishna with folded hands, right? Thereafter, from being the most sinful person, they went on to become the most pious people. Jagai and Madai were chanting Krishna's name, and again they took the Sankirtana movement and they requested each and everyone to please chant Krishna's name, please chant Krishna's name, please chant Krishna's name. Again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is another pastime. He showed Vishwarupa form as well. During his personal time, he showed Vishwarupa form. And yes, so this is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, Gadadhara, right? And whom did I miss? Advaita Acharya, obviously. Advaita Acharya. Right, so yes, we have Panchatattva mantra and Hare Krishna mantra. Now, from this, think of this: we do not have qualification. We do not have qualification. Have we done anything? No, right? We are just sitting here and we are being given this mantra. If you chant, please come to me. If you chant, I would allow you to come to me. Krishna is saying this. So is Krishna not very merciful? Krishna is taking us from grade 1 to grade 10, from our bad place to his beautiful place, just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Is not this very, very special? Should we not be chanting this name? We all should be chanting this name. Na? From today, we all should be chanting, right? I requested 2-3 days back. From today, everyone should be chanting. So this is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We can either do japa, where we are chanting the names on our beads, or we can do Sankirtana. Sankirtana is when many people came together. It is Sankirtana. When we are singing alone, it is Kirtan. Right? Now, there are many scriptural references, So, there are many. In the age of Kali, people should simply chant the holy names of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, it always happens with Srila Prabhupada. If you ask him one thing, he would give you 100 reasons why you should be chanting Krishna's name. Right? So, if you want scriptural references of why you should be chanting only Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these are the reasons. I would go fast. In the age of Kali, people should simply chant the holy names of Supreme Personality of Godhead. After searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy names of the Lord. There's no other way. We have seen this earlier. My dear king. So this is Sukhdev Goswami telling to Parikshit Maharaj, my dear king, although Kali is full of fault, there is still one good quality about this age. It is simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can free from material bondage, and promoted to transcendental kingdom. Again, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 10.25. Yajnanam japa yagnosmi. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names. Again, my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune. So all good fortune is contained in the holy names of the Krishna, right? Uh, mm, so and holy names like Krishna and Govinda, by which you can expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in your name, and there is no hard and fast rule of remembering them. So, what are the rules of chanting? We should pronounce each name properly. I mentioned this. When we are chanting, we cannot chant part of the mantra. We should chant full mantra, and we should chant it properly. It should be audible to our ears. We could not be chanting slowly that we are not able to hear, and we should chanting by keeping mala, right? It is preferable that we chant through Tulsi Mala, but right now we are chanting on Neem Mala, right? We would be elevated someday, and we would be chanting on Tulsi Mala, right? Yeah, we should chant with respect, devotion, and concentration, and we should chant in any place, sitting or walking, facing any direction, right? You can chant at any time. You can chant at any time, but chanting before in the Brahma Muhurta, in the morning time before sunrise is preferable. You can chant either before or after taking bath, but after taking bath it is preferable, right? But you can chant either before bath, right? Suppose you are not feeling well, you can chant even before taking bath. So don'ts of chanting: one should not chant portion of Mahamantra, right? I've told this, one should not chant portion of Mahamantra. So there are 108 beads, and we should not be chanting on the 109th bead, which is Krishna bead. On this bead, we should not be chanting, right? And one should not chant while reading a book or newspaper or watching TV, right? This we understand. Benefits of chanting: we could get freedom from the sinful reactions of whatever we have done, right? Whatever sins we have done. So if not, we would be punished. Look at the punishment. This is very, very bad punishment that we get. So whatever sins we have done, we would get relief from that. This is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says, by material contamination, we get bad habits, right? We can elevate it by connecting with sadhus or devotees or saintly people, and we can get the same benefit by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? Now we could get freedom from anxiety and stress. We could get peace of mind, real happiness, enlightenment. These are guaranteed. These all are guaranteed. So if we are chanting Krishna's name, if we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these are guaranteed, right? What people say about chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So there are many famous personality. George Harrison is the famous singer. The band that he had was the bestseller. So this he says that this is realization of God. When we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is realization of God. Albert Ford is the owner of Ford Motors, right? He says it has a tremendous effect on the life. So everything became happening, says Jean-Claude Halichi, and the Apar industry head, who ND Desai says, never found anything more praiseable. This is Ferni. He says he feels close to God. And we have Rishikesh Mafatlal. He says confidence and peace he get after chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There are famous these models, right? They say Vicky Overton says a tremendous happiness. Anne Schoffes says she got she gave up bad habits and got vision towards life. There are other personalities like army officer. He says outlook towards life is more brighter, significantly reduces stress and depression, says David Wolf, right? Brings me back to focus. Who is he? He is Paul Blear. He is printing executive now. There is merchandiser who is saying, "I don't get shaken up." And there is one Toronto Health Spa proprietor who says, "I get great peace by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra." So we should all be chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy, right? So this is about this chapter. Mm, if you have any doubt, any question, anything you want to say, please. I'm enabling the chat as well. I would be enabling the WhatsApp group. And yeah, there is one more thing. Some of us are asking the same question over and over again, right? Some of us are asking the same question in the group. Please do not ask the same question. I would be sharing the guideline, what and how, because of the evolvement, how we should be chanting, how we should be asking question, and yeah, how many times should we chant every day? Look, I have shared this on the group. Even if you don't want to, I'm saying this, even if you don't want to, you should be chanting at least 21 times. If you don't want, if you want, if you are interested, if you feel like, at least you should be chanting one round. One round would not take more than 10 minutes. Ideally, for senior level devotees, you need to chant 16 rounds. Now, from 1 to 16, you have to go slowly, right? It is not like you should be do. So we have Mamta Mataji. She chanted yesterday only. She messaged. She in fact told us that Mamta Mataji chanted something like 19 round on day 1, right? So yes, there are people. We had one kid last time around who started chanting 16 round by the time we ended the session, right? So there would be people like that, but we should go slow. But the fact is that we should not disconnect, right? If you feel like you should be chanting 16 rounds, who am I to stop you? I'm not saying that you should not be chanting 16 rounds, but I'm just saying that whatever you are chanting, stay fixated on it, right? Do not go up and down. So once you have started 4 rounds, you should be doing 4. Once you have started 5, okay, 5 now, right? So you should commit yourself, and at least you should be chanting 1 round if you are serious. But 21 is good start. No, 21 is not good start. 21 is for those who are not interested. If you are interested, you should be chanting 1 round. Mataji, please elaborate on this.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to everyone.
Hare
Hi. Actually, I was just listening to the rules and regulations that was given. I see that all the rules and regulations are already covered, and I see some chat also flowing. And yes, for someone who is not chanted anytime, it's sometimes difficult that you start on the beats and you may feel you're distracted. I think that's one of the things that we come across while we are chanting, that we get distracted. Sometimes we start yawning. These are the common questions that we hear. But to answer to that, we just heard today Dhyana Yoga. So we just heard today about Dhyana Yoga, that, you know, I want to bring my mind back to the chanting. So eventually when you start chanting, the mind will automatically start getting focusing on chanting. So even if you're not able to chant, just focus on chanting. You will eventually, like, you know, day by day, your chanting improves. Yes, Prabhuji just mentioned that I did 19 rounds. That was because I was fully determined to chant, and I was unable to chant because of my work schedule. But when my work schedule got a bit better, I took this determination that I want to. When you think, Krishna himself says that if you are strongly determined that I want to do something, you can definitely do it out of anything. Like, you know, at the cost of anything, you should say, I want to chant 5 rounds today. Just like how you plan to attend, I want to attend Bhagavad Gita class. This was your determination. And we are thankful that all the devotees are attending at this point of time. And that's exactly how you just come back and think that I want to chant 5 rounds. Commit yourself and stick to the commitment. You will definitely be able to do it. Whether it's 1 round or 2 rounds or even 21 times, like Prabhuji mentioned, just mention that, think in your mind that I'm going to go and sit in a quiet place, and I will find a time where nobody's going to disturb you, and just sit in one place, and whether it's 1 round, 2 round, or 3 round, sit and just focus on listen to your chanting. That's more important. Some people might think that I will walk and chant, I will jump around and dance around and chant. It's all not allowed, like the slides mentioned. Sit in a quiet place and just chant. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please do not chat just like anything. I understand that some of us would be feeling this. Look, we have not been exposed to Krishna, right? We do not know who Krishna is. We are knowing Krishna for the first time. Some of us are sleeping very, very late, right? For them, waking up too early is very troublesome. So we should not think like if someone just slept, we should not make fun of them. One, we should be compassionate that he or she has joined. Think of this, many of them would be sleeping. At least he or she has heard something. Do not make fun. This is not right, right? So yeah, please no if even if he sleeps, even if he sleeps in front of you, you should, what you should feel, is he not sitting in this class? Yes. Is he not hearing this? Somewhere he heard, somewhere he or she heard, right? So once he or she is hearing, who are you to make fun of him? Do you not do mistakes? We all do mistakes, na? We should never make fun. As Krishna's devotee, we should never make fun of anyone who is trying to know about Krishna. Yes? So please do not say anything like that. Please, no, nothing on the chat of this one. Yeah. If you have anything, please ask.
Prabhuji, at what age did Krishna go to Mathura and kill Kamsa?
It was at a very early age, something like 9 years or 7 years. Mataji, please explain. 9, it was 9.
Hare Krishna. Actually, I would definitely be able to answer this question, but I would like to encourage all the children to ask questions relevant to what we have taught today, which would make it more meaningful to for what we have learned, and also it would be very exciting for us to answer what is actually taught in the class. So I would recommend if you can please join our Krishna book reading class. There we would be able to answer all your questions. But if you have questions related to what we discussed about chanting, about dhyana yoga, about Krishna's pastimes, about what we have learned today, I would really encourage that. If there is anything not relevant to what we discussed today, please can we join the Krishna book reading or Srimad Bhagavatam class, where regarding these pastimes of Krishna are very extensively discussed. You'll be enjoying those classes. Thank you.
Yeah. And Mataji, I've shared the guidelines. Share the guidelines on the group.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is it like? Please, nothing about this, or I am blocking the chat. Why are you saying on the same thing? We have better things to talk about now. Yeah. So any other question? Any other question? Raise of hand. So let me tell you, I did not wanted to say this. I'm doing it for Krishna, so I do not want to say this. I woke till 2:15 a.m. just to prepare slides, just to do each and everything, and we are talking about this. What are we doing? Please do not do all these things. Yeah. Janya and Jeevan. Janya.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Sir,
Sriram
actually,
Prabhu, sorry, I was just yes, Janya, just a minute.
Yeah.
I would like to add over here that the souls which are sleeping also are getting benefited by listening to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And by to that devotee who is actually listening even while sleeping, even with that difficulty, if he's listening, and if we are making fun of them, we are committing a sin. So let us not commit a sin unknowingly or knowingly. You're all children. Let us be very safe while we are children. We don't want to be committing unknowing mistakes, because these sins are also counted.
Yeah. So
Yes.
so this is Vaishnava Aparadh. Yeah, Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhu. Yes,
Yeah.
I think Janya had a question.
Yeah. So this is Vaishnava Aparadh. What we are doing right now is Vaishnava Aparadh. Making fun of a Vaishnav is Vaishnava Aparadh. Krishna does not excuse us for making fun of any Vaishnav. I did not wanted to tell you all these facts right now, but because nothing is stopping, let me tell you this. This is Vaishnava Aparadh. This is sinful. Krishna takes this personally, right? Because someone is trying to know about Krishna. He's slowly trying to know about Krishna. And what are we doing? We are making fun of him. Krishna takes it personally. Why are you making fun of someone who is trying to know me? Right? We should never make fun. No, no, no. Please no. A strict no on this one. When I say no, it means no. Yes, Janya.
Sir, I did not understand like what Mamta, like auntie said.
What mantra?
Like what Bhagavad Gita class and all that, ma'am. I did not understand.
Okay. Let me tell you. So I have shared in the group earlier. I have shared in the group that there are other temple classes that are going on. What temple classes there are going on? One is Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam class. You have heard about many stories, right? Many stories. Most of those stories are from Bhagavatam. Whatever we discuss now, most of those stories are from Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam talks about very beautiful pastime of Lord and associate of Lord, right? So there is one Bhagavatam reading book program that is going on. It would start just after this class. Just after this class, at about 8:30, it would start. I would share the link. Today we would be sharing the link. Mataji, if you are there in the group, please share the link. Yes. So about Bhagavatam and there is Krishna book class. Krishna book class happens in the evening, right? Exactly 12 hours later. 12 hours later than Bhagavatam class. So we could join Krishna book class if you want to know about Krishna. So I was telling you, we should not be watching serial. So where should we be knowing about Krishna? We should join these classes to know about Krishna. Yes. So good. Yeah. Anyone else, Mahati?
So I have a question that's not what it's not related to what we learned today. Is that okay if I ask it?
Mataji, is it okay?
Yes, please.
So in my history class in school, we learned that no king can be like just and good, but I know that Krishna is the only king that is just, but is Yudhishthira, is he just?
Do you want to answer, Mataji?
Sure. No, yeah. I thought you were answering, Prabhu. Okay. Well, yes. Actually, Krishna chose Yudhishthira Maharaj to be the king. So this is a qualification that he already had, and he was the Dharmaraja, where he did when he was reigning the kingdom. The reason why I think we heard about this in the second chapter, that when Krishna created when Krishna created earth, he also sent the demigods to give all the required things for human beings and all the creatures on earth for living in cooperation. So we, being human beings on a higher platform of intelligence, we're supposed to be performing certain yagna procedures. And when Yudhishthir Maharaj was there, he performed, out of his causeless mercy, he performed many yagnas to please the devatas. And this way, when we please the devatas, automatically all the required grains and environment and weather, it can be even having a mental peace. So all of this was automatically coming to the entire kingdom, and hence he didn't have to be worried about that. So any decision that he was taking as per dharma. And being religious, righteous is so important. So he was very righteous king. And it comes in Srimad Bhagavatam also, many places, that he was extremely righteous. And also he's an incarnation, portion of an incarnation of Dharmaraj himself, that is Yamraj himself. So he is perfect. He cannot commit any deviation in case of regarding our birth and death. Hope that answers. If not, you can further ask. but we really, I mean, this was indirectly related to the topic, so we could answer. But if it's not related, if it's anything related and deviated, we would really discourage if you can ask in right places. Thank you. Yes, it will help you connect to the right classes. Also, it will help you better understand the subject, because we have seen certain questions which are totally deviating from what we have learned today. Thank you. But it was a very good question. And it's about righteousness. And I think that qualifies to answer. That's it.
Yeah. So anyone who is personal associate of Krishna would always do right thing, because he is associate of Krishna only. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is one's associate. Yeah, I am sharing the link in the group. You can join those classes anytime. So these are Mandir classes. Yeah. So at 8 to 8:45, the class would start only after 8:15. Yeah. So Kirtan would start at 8. So you could join from 8:15 or 8, whatever you wish. Yeah, Lakshmi Lasya.
Yeah, so if we sorry, you told that at 12 o'clock there is a class, but we can't join as there is an online class.
12 o'clock?
There is an online class of our study, so we can't join it.
No. At 8:30. 8:30 right now.
Right
8:15.
now.
8:15, yeah.
Okay, but at 8:30 my online class, that's no problem.
Okay. Not an issue. You may join Krishna book class at 8:30 p.m. in the evening. So if you want to join, you would join. I mean, there would be some class or the other where you would be fitting yourself in. Right? So don't worry. We have a lot of engagement of Mandir, and we should be joining those classes. Yeah, Janya and Jeevan. Chanya, do you have any question? So Mataji, you were not there, na? Earlier when classes started, Janya was someone who was jumping out of the screen just to answer questions. She was like, "Oh, I want to answer." Yeah, Janya. You want to ask question that way only?
Sir, actually forgot.
You forgot? You remembered that pastime of yours, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, not an issue. If you remember, you can write in the group. Yeah, Buddham.
I would like to say to Janvi that today morning I was watching a particular video that if you chant Sanskrit mantras, your hypothalamus increases. So if you wish to increase your memory and concentration and remembrance power, we should chant Bhagavad Gita shlokas every day. So wake up and try to chant the same shloka, probably whichever you want to learn, maybe 5 to 10 times, and it increases your focus and remembrance power. For me also, even I have a very poor remembrance power. Thank you, Hari Bol.
Mataji, then I feel like I should be doing it first, because my memory is very, very, very bad. Very bad. Yeah. Buddham.
Prabhuji, why are there two Vrindavans, one in spiritual world and one in material world?
So in material world, whatever you are seeing, that is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Please note this two words, perverted reflection. So this is reflection, but not true. It is perverted. It is false reflection. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So when we see love in this world, love is a perverted reflection of the love that is happening in the spiritual world. It is not true love. That is why we the same person we love, we hate. But this does not happen in the spiritual world. If we love Krishna, we love Krishna. Even if Krishna does anything wrong, or we may understand Krishna is doing anything wrong, Krishna cannot do anything wrong. Even if we understand that Krishna is doing something wrong, even then we would love. For that example, think of this: when Krishna left Vrindavan, did Radharani Maharani or gopis started loving Krishna less, No. In fact, they started loving Krishna even more. So they left Vrindavan. So why should they be loving more? But they love Krishna more, right? So this material world is a perverted reflection. It is not a real reflection. It is a delusion. Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Do you want to add anything on that?
Sorry, Prabhu, what did you say about?
Perverted reflection. Okay.
Yes. So actually, we love a variety and we love to do many, many things. Even Krishna loves varieties, and Krishna loves to do different activities. And why there is a material world and a spiritual world? Material world was actually created only for us. Krishna is concerned, and Krishna is like he wants to give anything and everything for all the living entities. So this material world was only created for human beings, and for those jivas who were, not only human beings, for those jivas who wanted to enjoy on their own. And this is his creation. We are still serving him, and we should go back to the spiritual world, which is where we belongs for eternal happiness. And we are in eternal misery right now, but we are falsely telling ourselves that we are not in a misery. I'm not in a misery. I'm not having any misery. I'm not unhappy. But I'm just going. But the thing is, we need to go back to the spiritual world, or our original place, which is Goloka Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Sir, yeah, I got to know my doubt.
Yeah, please.
Sir, is Krishna much more powerful or something than Rama and other incarnations?
No, we could connect with Krishna more easily. Mataji is busy. So we could connect with Krishna more easily. If we know Krishna, that is easier way of connecting with Krishna. If we know other incarnations of Krishna, we would find it extreme difficulty in connecting with them.
Oh, because Krishna is much more easier to connect.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mataji, do you want to add? We have just 1 minute.
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, can I see you in person? Because that was a very wise question. Would you be able to put on video?
Janya.
Hare Krishna, Janya. Well, actually, Krishna is, all his incarnation is a portion of Krishna. If I divide myself, I'm 100%. And if I clone myself to be like 80, 70, 60% like that, I'm just giving an analogy here. It's not like exactly like that. I really cannot comprehend that part. But if I have to clone myself to be a 80%, 60%, like it's not very myself, then that becomes Lord Sri Ram, it becomes Lord Narsingha, it becomes Lord in the incarnations. But some of the portions like Shakti Avesha avatars are actually only, they are only given the power, but they are not exactly Krishna himself. But Lord Govinda or Lord Narayana, all of them are actually they are not incarnations, they are actually he has multiplied himself to them. So this way, if we want to experience something called as the most sweetest forms of the 5 rasas, I think Prabhuji, I don't know if he has briefed, I just missed that part. If we want to be just to be simple in explanation, if I want to experience like motherly affection or fatherly affection, that kind of a rasa, or let's say I want to be experiencing Krishna as my friend, or I want Krishna as I want him to be my there are I want to be serving Krishna in person. Only these 5 things are very special, easily these are very sweet to experience. Then you will be approaching Krishna, because I'm not saying then we should all try to be approaching Krishna, because these are very sweet things to experience. But if you're willing to be with others also, like Lord Narayana or Govinda or any of the other incarnations also, there is a The 5 rasas that I was just mentioning, that you can't be their friends. You're only in the servitude attitude over there. You're only serving over there, but you can't become a child or a friend, or other rasas you cannot experience. That's why we all try to be serving Krishna himself. But others are, I wouldn't say that they are any less. They are not displaying those qualities. But Krishna has all the 60 qualities, and the rest of them, they are like in portions. Like, for example, Lord Govinda has 55 qualities. So they are in lesser in numbers. Hope that answers. Thank you, Janya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. So we have just hit time. I'm really sorry. We would not be taking further questions. If you have any questions, please write in the chat box. So we would be starting Hindi class. We should be starting by 7:30. We are already late. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। शिवाय जय श्रील प्रपात की जय। हिज ग्रेस नाम निष्ठादास प्रभु की जय। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे राम राम हरे हरे। So all of those who are sitting here, these must be very, very serious kids. So I do not want anything less than 1 round from you all. So you all please chant 1 round. Start chanting at least 1 round from today. Let's connect. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.